Well, with the holidays coming, it's time for a BFDI triple feature vlog, and they are Intruder Alert, Meaty, and Balancing Pack. But the funny thing is, about these 3 episodes, they have a few things in common. One contestant got eliminated simultaneously on BFDI and TPOT, and another contestant turned into an absolute bully. What do I mean specifically? Well, we'll explain them later. But just a little heads up, because I'm going to talk about BFDIA 7 and 8, I will have to spoil which team lost on episode 7, like the cake of steaks. So previously, on Battle for Dream Island again, Woolbudge lost last challenge because they failed to fall asleep. Whichever team member got the most likes from viewers will receive a special prize, but whichever contestant received the most dislikes will be eliminated from the show. Bommy got the most likes from fans for his humor and dialogue, and for his special prize, he gets to be painted. And he gets to spin the color wheel, and he landed on purple, so throughout most of the game, Bommy will be purple instead of gray. As for the elimination ceremony, whichever team members are saved, they get a slice of asbestos cake, but don't let that fanciness fool you, that flavor is a health hazard. Yellowface's adopted son Nico got the least amount of dislikes, and so did Jedi Master Coiny. Although Pin accidentally killed Rocky and drowned the warehouse, she is still safe. And so are Bommy and Nito for their epic sword fighting skills. So now it's down to Spongy, Rocky, and Yellowface. Yellowface is safe because he did most of the work for Woolbudge for his advertisements. Which leads us to Spongy and Rocky, both members of Woolbudge that did very little in the last episode. And the result is... Rocky, the newest member of Woolbudge, has been eliminated! So, if I can be honest, Rocky wasn't really my first choice when it comes to eliminating a BFDIA contestant. But I think the real reason why Rocky ended up being eliminated is because he broke his promise on Team No Name. Back in BFDIA 5, he promised he would never switch no matter what. But in the next episode, he ended up switching anyway to Team Woolbudge, with no hesitation. And going back to the 6th contest, Rocky did absolutely nothing of value to the team. Yes, I get it, he lost his vomit, that's why he's now useless, but that's still not a good excuse. So in the end, Rocky is the 6th eliminated contestant in BFDIA and is going to be sent to the TLC. But there's one problem with it though, the tiny loser chamber is locked because TV stole the key to it. The reason why TV stole the key to the tiny loser chamber was because the BFDIA contestant were going to eliminate him and send him to the tiny box. And it was all just because he still couldn't find a new Cake and Steak song. Why even get rid of TV over that? I still like the Cake and Steak beatbox they have. But that's where the 7th contest comes in. The teams must build a new dungeon for the eliminated players. Whichever team has the worst dungeon will be up for elimination for BFDIA 8. However, as cool as it is to get a new dungeon for Battle for Dream Island again, some of the dungeons that the teams created are actually weak and lame. One of my biggest problems with the dungeons that the teens created is that they're actually way too small. Even the Tiny Loser Chamber was bigger in comparison. I can see practically 3 or 4 people fit into these dungeons, not a whole set. Another problem I have with the episode is regarding the side plot with Free Smart. Ruby finds this precious mineral called Yoyolite that's supposed to be worth like $1 bajillion, and Tennisball wants to have it. So he convinced Fiery and Gelatin to switch to Free Smart's team so they can steal it. But they made a promise to switch back to Team No Name in the next episode, if they can survive. And as you would expect, Fiery and Gelatin decide to sabotage Free Smart by lying on what the contest is supposed to be so that Team No Name will be safe from elimination. Fiery and Gelatin switching teams is not much of a big deal, sure, but they switched teams immediately after they spun the wheel to choose the next contest, while Free Smart was still up in the air and they never had a chance to see what was the 7th contest supposed to be, and Fiery Speaker Box refused to tell them what it's supposed to be. And they only have one word to describe this subplot: cheating. The BFDIA game rules specifically state before a contest they may switch teams whenever they want, but Fiery and Gelatin switched teams after they spun the wheel. I also didn't like that Fiery Speaker Box refused to tell Pencil, Ruby, Book, and Ice Cube what the contest was supposed to be just because they were late. It wasn't their fault, they were up in the air. He could have just waited until they finally reached the ground. Oh, and Yellowface hates Bommy now for being purple and he attacked him. Just giving you a clue on how these 3 episodes have a few things in common. Now there are a few good scenes I did like from BFDIA 7. I really like the intro Fiery Speaker Box made with the 3D animation and the jokes of going from budget cut to budget surplus because he used nickel and coiny to make more money. And although Fiery and Gelatin sabotaged Free-Smart on losing the game, I did like the challenges that Pencil, Ruby, Book, and Ice Cube did to see what the challenges could have been, like doing 60 jumping jack, breaking 2,000 windows, and landing on 3 planets. Personally, I think the strange plan that they found would have been the best dungeon than the other teams' dungeons. But just like the weak Trembling Fortress, the new dungeon for BFDIA, this episode ended up being weak. Now for the 8th episode of Battle for Dream Island again, this one was much better and more entertaining. So at the end of BFDIA 7, Free-Smart ended up losing the contest because Fiery Speakerbot refuses to tell them what the contest was supposed to be in the last episode, and because Fiery and Gelatin sabotaged the team. But in Free-Smart fashion, they decided to do Cake and Steak at their old clubhouse, located at the Eiffel Tower, and apparently they got a brand new intro for Cake and Steak this time, and it involves TV and a new human named Lewis, and it looks like they're doing a martial arts movie trailer for something. I ain't giving up. I ain't giving up. It's Cake and Steak, Lewis. Ruby received the most likes due to her desperation on winning the game, if you know what I mean. And her prize is to time travel 10 seconds ago and get reassembled, because that was a coincidence because Ruby ended up getting shattered before Cake and Steak began. She not only received the most likes, but she also has the least amount of dislikes. Ice Cube is also safe for winning the 6th contest and being the voice of reason to Pencil, and Book is also safe for being an inclusive book to Fiery and Gelatin as the new members of Free-Smart. And it's all down to Fiery, Gelatin, and Pencil, and there are a few good reasons why one of them could be eliminated. 2 of them tried to sabotage the team, and 1 member ended up being too bossy even though she's the leader of Free-Smart. But in the end, Fiery ended up receiving the most dislikes. Now, unlike Rocky's elimination, Fiery's elimination was really a no-brainer. It's not just because he already won Battle for Dream Island, it was because his sabotage was way too far. It was even more harsh than Gelatin's sabotage in the last episode. In the last episode, he tricked Ruby into killing all members of Free-Smart, and he almost tricked Pencil on setting Yolo City on fire. Gelatin and Pencil are safe is because Gelatin is too likable for the fans, and even though Pencil is too bossy for Free-Smart, she did pick the teams first in the last episode instead of her own ego. But it was pretty smart for Pencil on making Fiery eat a Yoil Berry to make sure he turns into metal and doesn't set the weak Trembling Fortress on fire. But there is just one tiny problem with Fiery's elimination. The Fiery Speaker Box is way too upset that his owner has been eliminated from the contest. Because he's in an emotional mess, he is unable to host Battle for Dream Island again. So Pencil decided to bring back an old host, the Puffball Speaker Box. And for the 8th contest, they had to paint the Eiffel Tower. Free-Smart gets pink color, Team No Name gets green, and Woolbun gets Yellowface's favorite color, purple. One of the best moments in the episode are the creative ways in how the teams paint the Eiffel Tower, like Fries and Gelatin driving the car because Fry ended up winning the lottery. I'm gonna take a wild guess that he stole that car from Lewis. There's a pretty cool action scene involving Free-Smart and a pink laser gun. It's revealed that Gelatin actually expanded his steakhouse into a shade house. And there's also a pretty cool scenario where Woolbun used Bombi to paint the Eiffel Tower by blowing him up. I still don't appreciate Yellowface on attacking Bombi for his new purple look. But I will admit, one of my favorite jokes in the episode is at the end of the episode, and it involves an end screen. At the end of the episode, Gumball never got a chance to participate because he's still stuck in the tree from the last episode, and he wants more screen time. And how do they repay him? They cover his face with the Jack and Jellify logo. Remember that joke in Monsters Inc. involving Mike Wazowski and having his face covered? That's the joke. That was possibly the best end screen joke I ever seen from any YouTube video. As for bringing back Puffball Speakerbot as the host for Battle for Dream Island again, I was actually surprised that they brought her back. I thought she was dead after Pin stabbed her. I hope she sticks around for a while and doesn't get too upset that her own owner, Puffball, has already been eliminated while she was gone. The only issue I would have with the episode is that one team ended up winning the contest by cheating. You see, the Eiffel Tower painting contest was under a time limit, and one team decided to sabotage Puffball's speaker box to guarantee their safety immediately after the time limit was up. It was like the BFB quiz show episode if it was set in an alternate timeline where Savvy doesn't get eliminated for cheating. But even though one team cheated in this episode was still entertaining and even more memorable than the last episodes. Finally, there's TPOT episode Balancing Pack, and last time, Just Nut and the S lose again because they both failed to fix the roller coaster and the moon. If they're safe, they get a drip of glue. Just Not gets to go first. The first person safe is Pillow for helping Jetpack again on fixing the oven. The next one safe is Price Tag for their ingenious plan on trading some object to help fix the roller coaster. Nickel and Book are also safe due to their investing skills on trading the object, which leads us to Bommy and Cake. And the last person safe on Just Not is Bommy, which means Cake has been eliminated from TPOT. Now, to be fair, back in TPOT 6, it was really cool in how Cake defeated the dragon, but during the following episode, he did absolutely nothing of value to the team during the trading process on fixing the roller coaster. And it's true, Bommy didn't do much either, but I think the real reason why Cake ended up receiving the least amount of votes than Bommy is because Bommy is a much more popular character than Cake. And the same thing can be said about the rest of the Just Not members. They're all memorable, it's just that Cake ended up being at the bottom of the totem pole in terms of popularity. With the S team, on the other hand, the elimination was more based on the experience from the last episode, much more than the popularity. Winner received the most votes from fans due to Clock's elimination and trying to reconcile with Winner, while Yellowface received the second most votes due to being a secret portal to the advertising world, which people were so fascinated on how he works. And the third person safe is Bottle, being the most supported member of the team and the only person who found the moon repairing kit, which leads us to Rocky and Ice Cube. And for the first time ever, a Battle for Dream Island original will be eliminated on the power of 2. You may think Ice Cube might get eliminated due to her losing her legs from the last episode after eating Yellowface's magic gum, but that is not the case. Rocky ended up being eliminated instead. Just like BFDIA 6, Rocky did absolutely nothing to help his team. He just stand there and did nothing all day. But I was a bit surprised that Rocky felt so upset that he lost on TPOT instead of acting so obliviously happy, and he just vomited the volcano. That volcano is gonna play a part in the next episode, isn't it? So let's not worry about that volcano right now, because it's time for the Balancing Beam competition, a perfect throwback to the first ever challenge of Battle for Dream Island. The rules are rather simple. If the first 2 teams fall off the balance beam, go into the water, or die instantly, they lose. The Flyers are disqualified, and so is Tree for mysteriously disappearing from the last episode. I'll say this right now, I love the Balancing Beam competition in this episode, and I can't believe it's a complete throwback to the first ever challenge of Battle for Dream Island, and we get to see how the other characters compete on this thing. From Needle's aggressive manner, to Snowball's new appreciation for Grassy now that he's strong now, to the conflict between Fanny and Blackhole on either preventing Dev and win the competition. In case you're wondering what happened to Tree and why was he absent during the challenge, well, in the last episode, he ended up getting killed and Teardrop used its branch to fix the canal, and now he's a full-grown tree. And yet for some reason, Golfball and Puffball find his new body disturbing. Why would they say that? He looks beautiful. There are some good continuing side plots into this, like Basketball and Robot Flower, and Winner and Clock. With the Winner and Clock arc, Winner felt so upset that you actually let Clock stay for a bit while at the hotel, because Winner doesn't want to have to deal with Clock anymore. They just don't want to have any special treatment because they used to be famous, they just want to play Teapot like everyone else. And it was really nice that they brought back the Chu and Gady conversation, where Gady explained what should Chu do on fixing the Clock and Winner conflict. And with Basketball and Robot Flower, Basketball is the only member on the strongest team on Earth that's trying to tell Robot Flower to stop acting like Flower and just be Robot Flower. Even if Robot Flower ends up getting killed and recover later, she still acts like Flower from Season 1. So it looks like Basketball's best chances on bringing Robot Flower back is by hitting the reset button, if she knows where to find it. Now there are 2 issues I did have with the Balancing Pack episode. They're not as severe as BFDIA 7, but they need to be addressed. The first issue is Yellowface himself. Ever since he stole Ice Cube's legs, he's been using the magic gum on stealing Donut's arm, and he's been abusing his newfound body. He's been stealing all the glue back at Cake Estate, and he even throw his own team members off the balance beam. What has gotten into him all of a sudden? Is he trying to mark himself on getting eliminated? The second issue is regarding the risk factor on getting rid of Teardrop on the balance beam so she can be instantly eliminated from the competition. At the first half of the challenge, she was doing great by hiding inside Barf Bag so that no one would find her so easily. But after she got out Barf Bag, covered in vomit and acting so sick, some of the contestants don't want to throw her off the balance beam just because of that. I really do like Teardrop, and I am rooting for her on making it to the next stage in Teapot, But much like Tennis Ball, I feel like they would just take their chances on getting rid of Teardrop if she's so weak now that she's covered in vomit. Even if she was really sick, they still would help her by pushing her into the water so that the vomit would wash off and she would get her strength back. She is in fact made of water after all. But overall, 2 out of the 3 episodes were a lot of fun and well executed. Will Tennis Ball finally get Ruby's Royal Light? Is there any way to change Robot Flower back? And did Yellowface implode his chances on winning the game? Find out next time on Battle for Dream Island again and the Power of 2.